Hi, and welcome to the lecture recording on reporting in ERP systems. ERP systems supports many different business processes and in doing so, generate massive amount of data each day. Reporting is a term that describes the way that users can view and analyze the data that is generated and stored in the ERP systems. Before we look at reporting using ERP systems, let's look at what is data and what we can do with data. Now, data is the lowest level element that by itself doesn't really tell you much. So for instance, think of a series of numbers, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now by itself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doesn't really tell you much. However, when you put this series of numbers into a context, in this case, for example, think of a customer who purchased a product and the product number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actually becomes information about the item that the customer has just purchased. Now, knowledge is a step up above information in that a collection of information can lead to insights or help to attain certain knowledge of, say, knowledge about product A and product B always get purchased together. So knowledge is what we want or require in order to make decisions. And the process of turning data into knowledge is a process known as business intelligence. Now, in an organization, a typical organization, we have many different information systems that will help us work with data, information, and knowledge. And the information systems that are used in an organization can generally be divided into operational systems and planning and control systems. Operational systems are those below this red dotted line shown on the slide. And these are designed for mass data processing in order to free up employees from their routine tasks and also to speed up the processes. So the focus is very much on handling data and information that result from transactions. Now, ERP systems provide support as an operational systems by providing horizontal integration across various functional areas. Planning and control systems provide support for above the dotted line. So planning and control systems are built upon operational system in that it draws on the information gathered through the operational systems and using the information to create knowledge so that you can do corporate planning and control. So ERP system also supports planning and control by enabling vertical integration across different functional levels in that it gathers the transaction data and information from the operational systems and it provides tools for performing planning and control. So when we think about information systems for operational and planning control purposes, we can describe information systems as being transactional or informational. Transactional systems are focused on capturing and storing detailed transaction data for processing. And we call these systems Online Transaction Processing System or OLTP. Now, systems that support planning and control can be referred to as informational systems. And another term we use to describe this system will be Online Analytical Processing or OLAP. The data generated by OLTP gets archived into complex data repositories. We call that data warehouse. And OLAP then draws on data in the data warehouse to provide insights and knowledge for planning and control. Now, relating OLTP and OLAP back to our previous slide of information system pyramid, we can see that OLTP corresponds to the operational systems and OLAP corresponds to the planning and control systems. And if you think about in terms of users, OLTP will be more likely be used to support lower level staff, so the lower management, whereas OL or OLAP systems will be used to support middle to top management. Now, understanding the differences between OLTP and OLAP is important because it can help us in understanding reporting options in SAP ERP. This is because SAP ERP systems includes both transactional and analytical environment. The transactional environment of SAP ERP is known as the Online Transaction Processing Environment, or OLTP environment. This is designed to capture and store detailed transaction data, and the primary function is to execute process steps quickly and efficiently. So it's therefore optimized for this purpose, which means OLTP is not used to generate sophisticated reports because it lacks the computing power to pass through and analyze the data. Consequently, OLTP are used to only produce simple lists. The analytical environment is used for detailed data analysis. SAP ERP includes an online analytical processing environment, or OLAP environment, in the form of information systems. So instead of using detailed transaction data, these systems use information structures to provide analytical capabilities. We will define and try to understand these various terms as we go along in this lecture. But for now, just to reiterate, with the OLTP environment in SAP ERP system, we get reporting in forms of lists. And with the OLAP environment in SAP ERP, we get reporting in the form of analytics via information systems. Now, let's look at lists. Let's look at the transactional environment first. So the transactional environment produces lists, and there are two types of lists that gets produced. You have the work list and the online list. Work lists identify tasks that are scheduled to be completed in a process. So if you think about the fulfillment process, a customer orders are recorded in the system by the salesperson. Now, when the warehouse personnel wants to retrieve the items relating to the order in order to prepare for the shipment, he or she will use a list to help him or her so that he can pick up the right items, and that list will be known as a type of work list. So in this slide, it shows an example of a picking due list. So in this slide, it shows that the picking due list has 3 orders that must be picked. So 1, 2, and 3. And the second screen here shows the details of one of the order. So this is an example of a work list. Another type of list produced out of the OLTP environment in SAP ERP system is online list. Online list display lists of master data. So you've got material master, vendor master, or any sort of master data, and also documents such as transaction documents, materials documents, for instance, that are generated during the execution of a process. And the content and appearances of this list are defined using selection parameters. So selection parameters determine which documents will be included on the list, and the scope of list parameters will define the data which will include in the document. Now in this diagram, it shows the initial screen for the display of purchasing document, and it shows how choices can be made using selection parameters. Now the reports then are displayed in either one of the 2 available formats. You can have a standard list using SAP list viewers, or you can view the report using the ALV grid control format. Now the list viewer and the grid control format provide several options for displaying the report output, and these options are illustrated on this slide. Now, and also these various options are also described in more detail in your textbook chapter 2. So you can read up in chapter 2 to find out the functions of each of the button shown on the slide. Now, in the LMS system for this week, you will be able to see a link linking to a demo that shows a review of how an online list can be produced. So I encourage you to have a look and visit that link. So that's the OLTP environment. Now let's move on to look at the OLAP environment in SAP ERP. In the OLAP environment, SAP ERP works with information systems. In other words, SAP ERP utilizes information structures to provide analytical capabilities. There are numerous information systems available within SAP ERP to support most of the processes. Now, there are three broad categories of information systems. There's the logistic information system, financial information system, and the human resource information system. Logistic information systems support all the logistic processes, including acquisition, storing, creation, and distribution of materials. So, included into logistic information systems are purchasing IS, sales IS, inventory control IS, and so on. For financial information system, it is used to support reporting relating to the general ledger, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. And the HR information systems are used to retrieve information about various HR components like personnel, positions, and jobs. Now, information systems use information structures to provide analytical capabilities. And information structures captures and store specific transaction data in aggregated and summarized form that enable users to analyze the data as needed. So instead of just the raw transaction data, actually format it in a certain way using information structures so that when we want to do analysis, it's provided in a more structured way. So each information structure in the OLAP environment is defined in terms of three features: characteristics, key figures, and period definition. So characteristics are the objects for which data are collected. So an information structure can include up to 9 characteristics. Now in this slide it shows 2 characteristics, so you can have 9 of them. Key figures are performance measures such as quantities and counts associated with the characteristics. So key measures are usually summaries of multiple transactions. So summary of sales quantity, number of orders, invoice amount, and so on. Data are collected and measured across a period definition. So you have to define, is it over a quarter, a year, or a month? Now there are 2 types of information structures. There's the standard information structure and the user-defined one. Standard information structure are predefined in SAP ERP system, so they collect data needed to generate the most commonly required reports. The user-defined information structures are used for users to define their own structures to meet specific requirements. And using information structures, you can perform 2 types of analysis. You can do standard analysis or flexible analysis. So standard analysis provides predefined analytics for data in standard information structures. So this analysis is sufficient for most analytical requirements. But if it's not, then you can make use of flexible analysis that allow users to define the content and format of the analysis. So users can combine available characteristics and key figures as needed and create new figures using user-specific formulas. Now, to understand how OLAP environment works in SAP ERP system, let's look at the demo of looking at a report created using the logistic information systems. Let me toggle to the demo. Okay, so in this demo, we're going to look at a report using the purchasing information system, which is under the logistic information system. So this is a standard SAP ERP interface, which I'm sure you have looked at. So if you go under logistic and go into materials management and purchasing, expand purchase order and reporting menu, and you choose purchasing information system, and we look at standard analysis here, and finally select purchasing group transaction. So we want to have a look at the purchasing group, the details about it. So you will get a screen, the initial screen, that allow you to type in the purchasing group that you want to look at. So we can choose different types of groups. In this case, we want to look at the North America purchasing group. So we execute that and we get a report. So in this report, there's two key figures, the purchase order value and the invoice amount. So you can double click on any of this to look at the detail. So if you double click on North America, you will display the details of the particular line. So in this case, it shows detailed information for North America by showing the breakdown of the purchases by different vendors. So you have different vendors that makes up this purchase group. And if you want to look at detail of each of them, we just have to double click. So we can choose one and we double click, and we'll be able to see the detail of that selected vendor. So that's a demo of an information system report that can be created in SAP ERP systems. Sorry. Okay. So what we had to look just now was on standard analysis. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so we use standard analysis to drill down by vendor and drill down by period. Now we can also do flexible analysis, which was not shown on the demo. So with flexible analysis, you can define the content and format of the analysis. And in this slide, you can see users can combine characteristics of the vendor, material, and month with key figures like order values and number of items in the order. So vendor and materials are displayed in the rows, while the month, order value, and number of order items are shown in the columns. Now, the reporting capabilities like list and information systems are limited to the data that is available within SAP ERP systems. However, in today's business environment, even more powerful reporting capabilities that combine external information is desired. Business intelligence is a general term that refers to the overall capabilities a company uses to collect and analyze data from a variety of sources so that they can understand their operations better and can make better managerial decisions. The OLAP environment within SAP ERP is limited and cannot perform the necessary analysis required to provide business intelligence. And for this purpose, businesses utilize other platforms, and with SAP, it is the SAP Business Warehouse or Data Warehouse. So SAP Business Warehouse is a separate system that receives data from SAP ERP systems, other SAP systems such as CRM system or SCM systems, and other non-SAP systems. And all these data are stored in SAP Business Warehouse database. An SAP Business Warehouse system is designed and optimized for processing large quantities of data to provide powerful analytics. And unlike the OLAP environment in SAP ERP systems, SAP Business Warehouse is not a real-time or online system, and that data is not tied to transactions and is not the most current, because SAP Business Warehouse is a type of data warehouse. So a data warehouse is a large reservoir of detailed and summarized data. Okay, so it's not the most current, and it comes from various sources. And data warehouse is one of the most common data architecture used when it comes to business intelligence. So this comes to the end of this recording. Now you can review the demo that I have just shown you in this recording, and also look at a demo of the online list using the links that are provided in LMS. Thank you for listening, and see you in the seminar.